What's up, everybody? I'm Metal Nick,
I'm Jeff Christopher.
and welcome to episode number 61 of Cassette Bang.
Surprise, cassette bang. We're doing cassettes, and I'm excited. Nick hit me up earlier and said, "Hey, you want to talk about cassettes?" And I was, "Yeah, I do. I got a lot." So
Yeah, no, for sure. I was looking at I don't have a lot. I have a shelf full, but I was like, I think I can make an episode out of this, and I have some cool things that are unique to a cassette collection. But I thought this would be a unique and a fun episode to do with you because I know you collect tapes more than I do. I think you've got like discographies plus more like shells and whatnot. So we'll get into some stuff here in a bit, but I'm excited for this one.
me too. Me too. It's gonna be fun.
Hell yeah. When I talk shells, I specifically I think about Beastie Boys and Paul's Boutique. That might be one of the more famous cassette tapes collected out there because I'm not positive, but I know there's more than 20 different shell colors out there,
Yeah.
and there's just like it's insane. Like there's just like, and I think a lot of bands have adopted that over the years as well, and that's kind of a cool technique because like since I've been like over the years I've been a when I started when I started listening to music, I was a cassette tape guy. I didn't the very first CD at compact disc I bought was like maybe I was in the sixth or seventh grade and I bought Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger, but up until then I always had cassette tapes. So as an
Mhm.
adult, when bands years later were starting to put cassettes out, they were trying to make it fun again because I'll show that. And I'm sure I hope you have some of that as well as like different shell colors, maybe whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Cool. I
Yeah.
know I told you what I have. I don't know what you have, but this should be fun.
It's gonna be fun. It's
Cool,
gonna be
cool.
fun.
Well, let's start it off, man. What's your first one that you got?
The first one, before we start, I was trying to look in the top corner of my screen to see if you can even see my shelf, the racks where I have my cassettes, and I guess you can if you really look up here in this corner. Like there's a bunch of empty ones, and you can tell that I've been took a bunch of cassettes out. But anyway, let's get this started. One of the more rare cassettes that I own, one of the ones that I really wanted to focus on for this episode, is I believe it's a demo. It's a collection of demos from 1993 and 1994 from one of my probably my only favorite band out of New Orleans, Louisiana, Flesh Parade. Flesh Parade. This is extremely limited. I don't know the exact count or the exact number of cassettes made, but whenever I acquired this, I hit up Rene Perez, the guitarist for Flesh Parade since the beginning, and asked him if this uh, recorded TDK cassette that says Flesh Parade on it was actually legit. And he said, "Oh, yeah." He said, "Where did you find that?" I was like, "Yes, dude, I'm so lucky I scored one of these." But yeah, an early 4-track or yeah, 4-track demos of Flesh Parade songs, 7 songs. Uh, Worthless, Bite and Get in It just a little, Coping with It, Lighten Up, Bout Had It, and How About Some Good Stuff. All from 1993 and 1994. Stoked to have this Flesh Parade demo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for the grind enthusiasts out there, that band is just fucking dude. I love Flesh Parade. They're so good. I'm seeing them at Maryland Death Fest this year.
Oh yeah. It's been a minute, I guess,
I'm
since they
excited.
played. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, I can't
man.
remember. I saw them in '09. The first time I ever went to Death Fest, they played in '09, and I can't remember if they played since. But
They have. I can't remember what year it was because I have a bunch of friends that bought that yellow shirt with like the stripper and the star or
oh
something like
yeah,
that.
the Dirty Sweet cover. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
All right. Well, I didn't know how to start this one. I have it. I'm going to kind of mix up the order of what I have on paper here, but I'm going to start with something that meant something kind of this particular cassette means something to me because of I'll get there in a second. I'm this is a a series of cassettes that were released by black metal artist Holder. It is called Benighted in Blood, as you can see. These were, I'm not going to open them all up for you. There's one, two, three, four different colors on cassette. It's not the color of the cassette, it's the color of the cover. I'll show you. So these two, I'm going to put these down so I don't drop them everywhere. These two are white. Um, Let me see here. This one is the green card. This is the red card.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just some metal box decided to put it out on the CD. And I was like, oh, I got to grab this. Now, why does this show mean so much to me? When I first saw, the first and only time I ever saw Holder was at the Metro Gallery in Baltimore. And this is a live recording of that show. She put it out on cassette a couple times. Now, here's the thing with the cassette. So the red one, there's 80 of them. I have number 18. The green one, there's 100 of them. I have number 12. There's also a white and a gray card. Now, I have purchased what I thought was the white card multiple times, but I have two of the gray cards. The gray cards are out of 50. I have number 22 and number 40 out of 50. And as far as the white card, there are 80 of them. And I've tried purchasing that one multiple times, but nobody seems to have it or sell me the right one because they can't tell the difference between white or gray. So I really appreciate it if she put it out on a 7-inch or something. That'd be
Mm.
really fucking awesome. But it was recorded. There's the liner notes here. It doesn't tell you what the day was. April 17th, 2022 in Baltimore, Maryland. Me and James went to the show. After the show, I met her. She was super nice. She signed my record, posed for a picture with me. Holder is I think she's from Belgium, but she hails from Portland, Oregon. She writes and records all of her music, but when she performs live, obviously she has a band with her. Um, just an incredible artist. It's rare that I get into black metal a lot, but James, our buddy James Lenzig Jr., really turned me on to this artist. She's great. I'm hoping to catch her this year at Death Fest if I can score a ticket somehow. Um, but yeah, Holder is great. I'm very happy to have all these. If anybody happens to have a copy of the white card, please hit me up because I need that to complete my collection. I really do. There's also some. As I was doing my research earlier today, I was looking it up on Discogs, and there's a Brazilian one with like a obi strip on it, and I was like, damn. But I've never bought anything from Brazil. I should talk to Scott McKenzie. He's pretty big with that stuff. So
Mm-hmm. You say it's a cassette with an obi strip,
no, a CD.
or a CD with an obi strip? Okay, right on, right on.
This program is brought to you by Snacky S'mores.
All right, so yeah, the CD is got an obi strip on it. It's from Brazil. I didn't take a look to see if anybody's selling it. I would like to own it, but more importantly, it would be great to have that on vinyl. That would be, I appreciate the nostalgia of the cassette, and she's released a lot of stuff on cassette. But yeah, Holder, awesome artist. I'm a big fan of everything she's put out so far, and like I said, hopefully I can score a ticket to Death Fest this year and catch her because that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool, man. To have a copy of a show that you were at, man, because that's.
I have a couple, but this one was like a very small, intimate. Like there was probably no more than like 50 people in that room, if I had to guess.
Right.
There's other ones I have are like from like Death Fest and stuff like that, where there's like hundreds of people packed in there. But yeah,
Right on. Oh yeah, very cool. Um, my next album on cassette is like Nick said in the beginning of the episode. I mean, whenever he started off with collecting music, it was all cassettes, and I was no different. In the late '80s and the early '90s, every album that I ever had was on cassette, and this particular album I got on cassette in 1994 before I got it on CD because that was just that was my preferred format. Was cassettes were more accessible, and we didn't do the transition to CDs until probably 94, 95 or whatever. But anyway, this copy I didn't. This is not my original copy. Unfortunately, I lost everything that I grew up with. I do not have any of the original cassette. A couple of them, Like I've got my DRI, my first DRI EP. But anyway, this one I reacquired a couple of years ago whenever I went to see our my good friends at Hit Records in Columbia, Missouri. This one is Halo 8 from Nine Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral. And this was actually the actual copy released in 1994. This is the same copy of the original cassette that I owned. Comes with the slipcase, which is super fucking awesome. Original 1994 pressing or release. There's certain ways to get or to indicate which variant of a cassette that you have, and I'm not going to get into all this just because it could take a long time. But there's different indicators, like as far as the dots on the inside. Some of them have lines. Some of them don't have dots at all. Some of them have different markings. And I'm not going to get into all that. I don't know if I'm going to get that involved with collecting cassettes again. I am just grateful to have an original copy of the very first pressing or very first release of the Downward Spiral on cassette, the same as I had back in 1994. Very stoked to have this.
Oh yeah, man. I remember having that on CD, and it came in a little slip case as well, and the booklet was impossible to stuff back in.
Yeah.
So thank you
Yep.
for that. Thank you for that, Trent Reznor. I'm sure you did that on purpose.
Sure.
Ooh, where do you want to go with next year? All right, I think I'll go with this one. Sorry, I'm looking at my little collection here. I have a big one that I want to save for a minute here for the middle. This is something that originally came out in 1997. In 2021, the band Pig Destroyer re-released 50 of these on cassette. This is the I guess the OG demo on cassette. Even even has like the I don't know what that because was it Remax with the little guy on the couch, but it's got the Relapse dude there. It looks like it's printed on an actual blank cassette. Um, these were put out at the Decibel Beer and Metal Fest the year that they had played the I guess the year that they were doing Prowler in the Yard, and our good friend Alex Shaw was doing merch, and Jeff had asked Shaw to set these aside for him, and he said he would, and we had joked that he had sold out before. I remember the look on your face, pal. I felt bad about it because we were going to let that run for a while, but I was like, dude, just give it to him because you were like, I asked you, but this is a little cool piece of thing. It's got a Dark Satellite 7 and 13 flag burner, delusional supremacy, martyr to the plague, ruined nation, synthetic utopia, monolith, and frailty in numbers. It's cool as shit. Relapse re-release these. I think they're selling for like $94 on Discogs. I still have mine sealed because yeah. Thank you to the Pig Destroyer crew for that. Cool little piece of merch that I have there that from our good pals, and yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that band. I don't have everything that Pig Destroyers put out, but when every now and then they do something small and cool like that, Blake would always hit you and me up and tell us that something like that was coming. Now Cha does that for us, and I
Mhm.
do greatly appreciate to have the inside loop on stuff like that with Pig Destroyer. It's
Sure.
very fun. I'm not as diehard as Jeff. Jeff does have like every pressing of everything, and I respect the shit out of that. Like Blake was the same way when if you ever looked at his shelf, but you know, I wish if I had my more shelf room, absolutely, I would probably go for stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
admire the dedication that you put into your collection, man, and I know that you have a lot of stuff like that on cassette as well. I think I think after this they put out something that maybe we'll get there later. I don't know. Um, but it's cool that bands do stuff like that because I know for years Chow used to give me his side project or solo project Pollen Infection. I have plenty of those cassettes laying around as well. I'll share those in another episode. But yeah, for a while there, cassette tapes were the nostalgia, and as we're sharing in this episode.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I guess somebody had realized that they were cheap to acquire and cheap to mass produce, and you could, spend $2 on a cassette and turn around and sell it for 10 or 12 or whatever. And I mean, it was a good marketing ploy for bands. And then you got dumbasses like me that'll buy every copy, and if they do different pressings and different shells, then you'll buy one copy of every shell. But just like, I mean, I'm glad that people started doing it, because I wanted to acquire a lot of cassettes from my childhood, for one, that I've lost over the years, and plus, I mean, it's just a cheap way to support the bands, So yeah, yeah. And as far as the Pig Destroyer collection, I wasn't sure if I ever had my box showing in the background of my episodes, but there's that Pig Destroyer box, just one of my many. I, I am horrible at doing this backwards, but yeah, there was that box with the albums in it from Pig Destroyer. Anyway, moving on. My next, which one am I going to go with next? I'll go with another rare one from from my metal years. Another one that I acquired. I believe I acquired the this demo around the same time that I acquired that Flesh Parade demo. But anyway, I'll go ahead and my next album, my next band. This is an original copy of A Coming Into Existence from Origin, the original demo, the original 4-song demo that features the songs Lethal Manipulation, The Bone Crusher Chronicles, Sociocide, Manimal Instinct, and Inner Reflections. Again, this is an original copy from 1998. Has contact information for, I believe, it was probably Paul at the time. But very hard to find. You don't see these in circulation hardly at all. It's the original lineup. Everything, I believe everything was printed by hand, done very DIY, the same as the Flesh Parade. But yeah, this is definitely a very valued collection, very valued item in my collection. The original Origin demo. Love those guys. We'll see them here in a couple months, actually.
Killer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Yep.
I excuse me. I like that you have the it's all handwritten, and that's how DIY they were about their stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I went off on a tangent. I forgot to bring up the newest album from Origin. I also have Chaosmos. They have two different versions. One that was released in America, and then one that was released in Europe on Agonia Records. And this is their went from the beginning to the newest albums, but very first demo and two different copies.
Oh yeah.
Chaosmos. Sorry, I completely forgot on those.
Did they re-record it, or they just re-released it?
They just re-released it, like you were saying earlier about how bands do different color shells or whatever for different variants. It's not re-recorded or anything. This one was released by Nuclear Blast, and then this one was released by Agonia Records out of Europe.
Okay.
So just two different labels, two different.
Oh! That's not like the demo that you were just showing off. I got you. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Hell yeah, Origin. What up? Shout out Jason Kaiser, one of the funniest dudes on the planet.
Ever, yeah. I love that dude.
All right, this next one is a local band for me. They're from Falls Church, Virginia. This is my good buddy Chris Ustella's band, and shout out to Chris and Pete. And this was their band back in the early '90s. They were one of the OG death metal bands from Northern Virginia. This is a band called Abominog. I haven't opened this, but this is Dark Museum. This came out in the year 1992, and then in 2018, Lost Apparitions put it out on cassette, and I think they also repressed it on CD. You kind of see some of the artwork. Shout out to our boy Art Hammer, who does all their artwork. Art is awesome. He's very into like the gory, dark stuff. This is a early 90s death metal from Falls Church. These guys were very close with the band Deceased. At one point, King Fowley from Deceased played drums for Abominog. Unfortunately, recently they reunited a couple of years ago, and unfortunately, recently their guitarist Daryl Creel passed away. Rest in peace, Daryl. He was an awesome guy, really nice fella. I was at his last show in Raleigh, North Carolina with them. Bob and Ugg is currently looking for a new guitarist. I know that they want to keep going with it. They they basically have been doing this for a very long time, and they're trying to put out some more stuff. I know they want to put out new stuff, but as of right now, they've been re-releasing stuff. I know J.R. Hayes recently released their 1998 album, Chaos Unleashed. Talked about that in the CDs episode with J.R. But yeah, I wanted to talk about these guys because Chris is a good friend of mine, and this is a great band that a lot of people don't know about. Some people do know about. I think one of the OG Chaos Unleashed is selling for like $800 or something like that on Discogs. I can't remember. It's really expensive. Somebody in Malaysia bought it from them in the '90s, but that old school death metal nostalgia is real. If you have that early stuff, early demo stuff, people will pay big bucks for it. But yeah, shout out to Abominog, shout out to Chris. I love this band a lot. They're great dudes, good friends of mine, and this is just one of the few cassettes that probably a lot of people don't own, but should know about. They're a cool old school death metal band that they're very unique sounding. I'll just say that, and they were. I know the Suffocation guys are really tight with them as well. Chris got shout out on the Human Waste EP.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Fuck yeah, man. Abominog.
Yeah.
I know you talk about them guys a lot, and I'm not familiar with them, but it's awesome.
I'm not too big on our local scene. There's a couple bands. Everybody obviously knows Desolus and Nuclear Tomb. I've talked about those two bands a couple times on our show, but like I want to give Chris his flowers. Like he's been at it for 30 some years now, and he's a great vocalist. He really is. When I first met him, he was in a band called Eternal Ruin, and he was in there with a couple friends of mine, and I went in the studio and watched them record this album, and they were awesome. He's a great vocalist, good friend of mine, funny ass human being, one of the most generous guys I've ever met in my life. But when it comes to his band, like he loves to just like promote the shit out of it. He gives away those CDs and those shirts like it's nothing, and I really should stop doing that. But he's a good person. He's got a good heart. He just wants everybody to hear his stuff because he really wants his band to take off. And figured why not talk about them on our show?
Sure, absolutely. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
right. Moving on. I think I'm going to go with a pattern of talking about a newer band and then a band from my childhood and then a newer band and then another band from my childhood. I am going to go with 2 albums, just so I don't forget this time. 2 albums from Tool. The first is the very first album I ever heard from Tool, Undertow. I do not know exactly which release this was. This was manufactured for BMG Direct Marketing. I don't really know exact specifics about this, but pretty cool to have Undertow on cassette. Very cool release. As I stated, this was my introduction to Tool. The J card is not in the best condition, but I mean, if something came out in the early 90s, it's kind of hard to find something that is in pristine condition. But yeah, all the original graphics from, I'm sure a lot of Tool fans are familiar with. And very, very stoked to have this release on cassette. Up next from Tool, if I can see where I put it, is Anima on cassette, ladies and gentlemen. Very, again, beyond excited to have this on cassette as well. This is obviously a bootleg. The cover on the inside is on the back of the card, which everybody's creative opinion, I guess. And a bunch of the eyeballs from the cassette. Don't know where this thing came from. Don't know what that art is. And this thing that was a shirt or a poster at one point. Yeah, it was a poster. No Bill Hicks, no nothing, no lenticular. It doesn't move, and you don't see California fall off the face of the map, or the contortionist sitting on the floor, with their legs behind their head or anything like that. But still,
Gee,
very, very cool to have Anima and Undertow on cassette.
fuck yeah.
Love these albums.
Where'd you find the bootleg Anima from?
Actually, Sean Shanks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he traded me something. I don't remember what it was. I think it was cattle decapitation. I believe it was Anthropocene.
Have you ever listened to it?
I have actually.
Yeah. Is it like good sound quality, or does it sound like?
It's not bad. I mean, it's
Yeah, I
nothing
mean,
that
I know
I'm
cassettes aren't that great a sound. I mean, like, I don't know what people expect, but no, I feel you. That's cool. That's really cool.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
curious if the next one you were going to show was Anima and if it had the lenticular stuff, but
No, unfortunately not. I've got a couple of copies of I still have my original CD,
yeah, I remember
from
you
back
showed
then.
that off on the JR episode,
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we were talking about that. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool deal. All right, here. I didn't get ready yet. Now I am ready. All right, we'll edit that out later. Action. This next one I'm going to talk about is one of Jeff's favorite albums. I know this for a fact.
Ooh.
It's not Faith No More.
Oh.
This is an album that came out in the year 1995
Okay. All right.
by one of my favorite bands as well, Alice in Chains, self-titled. I have this on cassette. This is the
Nice.
yellow shell. Oh, it broke. Look at that. I got this from a friend a couple years ago. He had like a case full of cassettes, and he just asked me if I wanted anything in there I wanted to grab, and I was like, "Holy shit, yes!" I saw this. Um, Look, it's the purple
Purple
shell.
shell. Yes, dude. So sick.
The J card not in the best shape as well. It's in like a couple pieces here, but just happy to have this. Some people who know this, if you owned, oh, it just fell apart. When you bought the CD back in the day, the jewel case was either purple or yellow, and
Mhm.
it's a very awesome thing to have. I like that the cassette was like that as well. The purple shell cassette. This is a phenomenal fucking record. I know Jeff chose it in his top 20. I fully back it. This was the last album, full length album they did with Lane Staley. The songs on this record: "Grind," "Brush Away," "Sludge Factory," "Heaven Beside You," "Head Creeps Again," "Shame in You." Goddamn is great. That is a
Yeah.
fucking very, very, very underrated Alice in Chains song. Um, So Close, Nothing Song, Frogs, and Over Now. Um, Legendary album by an amazing band that's in kind of some hot water right now. Won't talk about that though. We'll talk about how great this fucking record is. This cassette tape. Ooh, it's kind of like sliding out there. um, this is just a cool thing to have because of the color of the shell, and like most people in the '90s should know this nostalgia. If you were a fan of this band and you listened to this band, this was just just full on great album. Yesterday I was at some record stores with Cha and J.R. Hayes of Pig Destroyer, and I saw not one but two copies of this album on vinyl, and it
Nice.
wasn't OG, unfortunately. It was boots like what you and I got. I didn't want to like see if actually I think they had three of them up there, but yeah, they were going for $50. I purchased the one that I have on vinyl from some sketch site online, and it came warped as shit. But I still listen to it because,
Yeah.
like Jeff, I love that fucking record. I'm happy to have it on cassette. That's kind of like a cool, unique little like piece of history there. Because I'm sure if they were to redo it, it'd probably just be on clear shell, everything, right?
I would imagine. I would imagine.
I don't know.
Um,
I don't think bands are still repressing to cassettes in 2025.
no, and even in whenever they redid like Jar of Flies, they didn't do it on cassette. I don't think. I don't think.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. The yellow shelf or the yellow case for that is so awesome. Like I love that.
hmm
It's great.
I love that they did that. That was a really cool piece of that. that packaging.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What am I going to go with next? Okay, up next, I am going to go with a band that has their own genre. They are from Denver, Colorado. They are known as Rocky Mountain Hydro Grind. I am referring to Cephalic Carnage. Cephalic Carnage. This is their Regulos de Mota demo. This was hard to find. I think I acquired this back whenever I started collecting vinyl. There was a time, and I don't check eBay very often anymore, but whenever I do, the first things I check for are Cephalic Carnage, Cattle Decapitation, and I can't remember the other band that I was like. It was like routine. As soon as I log in, I would look to see what was listed newest for Cephalic, what the newest listings were for Cattle, and then something else. I don't remember what the other band was. Anyway, Cephalic Carnage, Regulos de Mota. I don't know the pressing information for this or how many of these were released, but yeah, this was Regulos de Mota on one side. And since I've never opened it, I can't remember what's on the other side. Let's see if I can't look it up on Discogs real quick. Regulos de Mota and Ad Nauseum. Ad Nauseum is the track on side B. But yeah, this is a single, still sealed, will never be opened just because, weird like that. Also from Cephalic Carnage, two different variations of their Fortuitous Oddity. Their demos from 1990 something, 96. 1996. Both of these releases have green shells. These were both very DIY by Steve Goldberg, actually. These were done. I've heard the story. I've seen original Xeroxed copies of these albums, actually, and I have one. Steve actually gave me one whenever I was out at his house a couple of years ago. Stopped in to see Steve Goldberg, and he was like, "Hey, I found a bunch of this stuff in shoeboxes. Do you want an original copy of one of these album covers?" And there was a page of like 4 different copies of this on a page, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want a copy of that." And so yeah, I have actual paper copies that he got from Kinko's or wherever he had them Xerox stuff at. So pretty cool. The inside of these has the lineup at the time, which is Leonard on vocals, Steve on guitar, Doug Williams on bass, Zach on guitar and Zach Joe on guitar and vocals, and John Merriman on drums. This has contact information. It says if you're ever in Denver and need a bag or even just a joint, which I don't know what they're talking about. Bags and joints. I don't want to know.
Hurry up and give the contact info.
It's probably for Leonard. It's for Zach Joe. It's but anyway, yeah, 6 tracks from this phenomenal band. Side 1 is Analytical, Chelsea, and Waiting for the Millennium. Side 2 is Withered, Hybrid, and Kill for Weed, which I think they were talking about bags and joints because they were talking about marijuana. I want no part of that at all. So, Cephalic Carnage, long live Cephalic Carnage, Rocky Mountain Hydro Grind. I fucking love those guys.
Cool stuff. Hell yeah, man. That's a pretty deep collection there. Speaking of deep collections, I'm gonna almost remove myself there. Gonna talk about something pretty big here that I got. I got quite a few things from this band. I'm gonna start small and end with the biggest one that I got. I'm gonna go down under here and talk about one of my favorite bands from Australia that I've like just put out there so many times how much I love, and I'm talking about the band Portal. This was a demo I think that they put out. The OG one came out in '98. This is a 2020 release on Hell's Headbangers. It's got 3 tracks. It's the same tracks on both sides. I believe I have a 7 inch of this as well somewhere in my collection. I know I have a 7 inch somewhere of this in my collection because I have practically everything that they put out. Um, Next thing I got here is Ed Mills. Where is it? I'm not fucking look this one up. Oh, well, Ed Mills and Tempest Fugit, Hell's Headbanger put this one out. Same thing on both sides. I don't know what year they put this out. 2020. We put out the Ed Mills. I have the 7 inch of this as well. I guess Hell's Headbangers is guilty of putting out a lot of the stuff that Portal has put out. In the year 2020, Portal had put out 2 fucking albums, 2 full lengths. One came with like a Ouija board, and the other one was just like a normal release. In 2022, they released both of them in this cool little box, and comes with this awesome little Portal noose on the back.
Mhm.
Open the box. Inside is both of the cassettes. The title of this is called is there a vow in Hagabaluya? Um, Both on black shells. I've not opened nor listened to any of these. But yeah, there's these little boxes. It comes in this cool fucking carrying box for these 2 cassettes. Last thing I got, they titled this Tempest Fugit in 2020. This was all their full lengths that they had put out in a coffin. Nice little coffin case here. It opens up and displays all their cassettes inside. There's Sepia, Outtree, Swarth, Vexvoid, and Eon. Everything is in there. I don't want to pull all these out because they're like nicely put in, and every time I take them out, I have a difficult time putting them back in. But I believe they are all on different color shells. Yeah. But yes, this was a really cool thing. I believe Brooke Ann was talking about how she has this as well. Shout out to Brooke Ann, past guest on her show, and she bought one of our T-shirts. Shout out, Brooke. I hope you like the shirt. Yeah, Portal. I have a lot of their shit. I have a lot of their stuff, weird stuff that they put out. But this is a kind of a cool thing. I think this is selling for a lot. I don't want to ever get rid of this because this is a very important band to me. I think I've told the story on the show, but last time they played the U.S., they played Maryland Death Fest. And unfortunately, they played over the curfew time, so they cut their sound on stage. It's really upset them, and I'd be pretty upset too if I flew all the way from Australia to play a festival and some shit like that happened, no matter if I got paid or what. But they were visibly upset when they were done. They finished their set and they walked off stage. And I ran back into the dressing room and I was talking to them. And the gentleman who is the curator was pretty much almost out of his costume. And I asked him if I could get a picture. And he put everything back on and posed for a picture with me. It was so fucking cool. Total nice gentleman. I love this band a lot. People give me shit for listening to them. I don't give a fuck. They don't listen. They don't sound like any band that I've ever heard before. I respect these guys a lot. They were really nice to me. They were in a bad mood that night, but I think I made it up to them because I shared some American Cypress Hill with them. You missed that wink there, Jeff. Portal, one of my favorite bands. I have a lot of really cool, unique shit from this band, including this print that I shared. I think maybe once or twice on our show, but this is probably one of the more cooler things that I have on cassette is this box set, and it's in the shape of a casket, and all their first couple albums are in the inside of the casket.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yes.
And I remember that Death Fest. I remember because like I got the set list from that show, and like a couple of years ago, I found it and sent it to you. You know, just like here, you know, you're a huge fan, and I just happen to have it. So like here, you know, have the set list. But I remember you going backstage and getting the picture taken and all that. And very
He
cool.
was very nice. They were enough shit. I don't blame them. They were pissed because of what happened. They even
Sure.
said we'll never play this venue again, and I don't blame them. But
Yeah.
like like I said, I tried to make it up to them. They were like, "Yeah, we'll take your weed." Imagine somebody saying that in a really heavy Australian accent. But the singer himself, the gentleman, I don't remember his name. I was introduced to him earlier in the day, and I didn't even realize it by our friend David Hall. But at the time, he was really chill about it, and very in very good spirits of putting everything back on and posing for that picture with me. And
Mhm.
I just, man, like that meant the world to me. I remember walking back to the hotel with James, and I had goosebumps because I was just so excited about that shit. Like, um, but yes, Portal is just, they're one of those bands. I've only seen them twice. They've come to our country a couple times, and they're a very, very unique band. They don't sound like too many bands that I've ever heard, and that's, people could say whatever the fuck they want, but that's what attracts me to them, is the uniqueness of their sound.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right. Up next, I'm going to try to do this band in order. I've got a lot from this band out of St. Louis, Missouri. Very good friends of mine. The bassist slash vocalist for this band now has a printing company that he prints merchandise for bands. He does shirts and trucker hats and koozies, and Possession Press out of St. Louis, Missouri, which were the which was the printing company that printed our newly printed vinyl bang shirts. So shout out to Possession Press. Actually, look at this. Look at this right here. I've got a one of their promotional cards. Possession Press out of St. Louis, Missouri. Kenny, thank you for all you do. I'm going to start off with a collection of cassettes from Fister. Okay, I'm good. The first album released by Fister in 2011 on Pitchfork Anticulture, which was also Kenny's record label back then, was Bronze Sonic. Was the very first album from Fister. This particular I keep saying pressing. This particular cassette was an edition of 30, and I have number 2 of 30, White Shell. The second release was out of 100 on a clear shell. I have number 97 of 100. And this one is really cool. I have never seen a cassette case like this, except for another one I'm going to show from Fister here in a little bit. But the third release of Bronze Sonic is inside of I don't even know what kind of cassette case this is, but you press here and it releases there. This one, let's see if it gives the information inside. No, this was just a side A and side B. Side B was the Bronze Sonic demos, which was not released on the original songs. This is number 7, as it says, out of, I don't even know how many of these were released. Let's look this up real quick. 100 Smoky Print. No, that's not right. God damn it. I really should have let 30 white, because 30 white tapes. All of the tracks on side A and side B repeats. So that's supposed to say on Sonic demos is not actually the demos, but this cassette case is so badass. I don't know exactly what they call this kind of a case, but very, very cool. And it's got a inverted cross on the back, which is very metal. Up next from Fister is the live album that they did for Good Friday in 2013, which I've mentioned before, is my audio from my camera, Good Friday, their Good Friday release. I have number 14 of 100, also on kind of a yellowish tint. Not as dark yellow as the Alice in Chains tripod, but still a pretty cool looking case there. Violence, which I brought up. I don't remember who was talking about. I don't remember which guest we had that was talking about something that was printed in human blood. I think it was Charles Teague was talking about one of his releases that had the artist's blood or something was mixed into the ink whenever they were doing the pressing. Fister Violence. This box set contains a blood red cassette, which also has the same kind of case where you press down on this little piece here and it pops open. This is on a blood red shell with their inverted cross thing. I don't know if it's going to be hard to see in the, there you go. An inverted cross with a pentagram on the back. Very, very creative gentleman in Fister. Up next is the Violence, the same album, split with their Infernal Paramount release, which is this one here. This was limited to 100. I have number 55 of 100, and I believe these were the only pressing or the only releases that they did for these. Up next is their IV album. This was released by, I can't even tell what that says. Cannot tell what that says. This is a pretty cool, like a gray marbled shell. Very cool release. Up next is another, or their Gemini cassette, which was released in 2014. The cassette here is a red shell cassette. I believe this is actually taken for this Jeremy Irons from Dead Ringers on the cover. And last but not least, during the pandemic, Fister released a live show, a live stream, which a lot of bands were during the pandemic. They recorded the audio and released Audio Death. Their entire performance released on cassette, on a black shell cassette. This one's never been opened. They released this on Blu-ray as well. They went all out, and they didn't do a vinyl for it, but they did do a cassette and a Blu-ray. Every time this band has ever played, like they never use set lists. They never have set lists on stage, and for whatever reason, they had set lists for their live stream pandemic, or their pandemic live stream. And Kirk, their drummer, sent me his set list in the DVD, in the Blu-ray, which was really awesome because like I've never had a Fister set list out of all the times I've ever seen them throughout the years, but now I do. Thanks to Kirk. Thank you. And yeah, that's my Fister collection. With no research at all. Kind of winging it, but yeah.
Yeah, buddy, I gave you like 2 hours. No. Cool stuff. Yeah, Fister. Has this band ever put any vinyl out, or they just put cassettes out?
Oh, they have all kinds of vinyl. Oh yeah.
Okay, so they just put a lot of cassettes out too.
Also, cassettes along with vinyl, yes.
Cool.
And CDs and all of it.
Yeah. For fans like Jeff. All right. Excuse me. This next thing I'm going to share is from a Baltimore band who, excuse me. Jeff and I were actually just at their final show, unfortunately, in Detroit. I'm talking about Baltimore's Noisem. In the year 2015, the first 100 people who pre-ordered Blossoming Decay from 8389 Records got a copy of this cassette live on November 7th, 2014, I think that says. Yeah. I don't know the track listing. I think if you look it up on Discogs, it's on there. But yeah, that's clearly a parody of Nirvana's little iconic smiley face shindig. But Noisem, awesome band from Baltimore, Maryland. Rest in peace to that band. They were good dudes. Our good pal Travis Stone, who was an OG guitarist in this band, is now and he's in Big Destroyer. He's out touring with the Cavaleras. I don't know if you saw the other night, he met Maynard James Keenan of Tool. This guy is just doing big fucking things. It's incredible. He's got a photo with him and the Cavaleras. I guess Maynard came backstage at a Cavaleras show. Anyways,
oh, wow.
Excuse me. Noisem, awesome fucking band from Baltimore. Rest in peace to these guys. This is like I said, limited to 100. You can see there's no songs written on the back on the shell, but I think in the back there is a track list if you open it up. My copy is still sealed because, like Jeff, I'm like weird like that. But yeah, Noisem, really cool band from Baltimore, Maryland. I wanted to share this very unique cassette that I have from Noisem.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Noisem, good band. They were.
Very, very yes, yeah. Shout out to Sebastian and Harley. Those two were brothers. They kept that band together for a while. Um, excuse me. I kept in touch with Travis for years, and then at some point, like when a certain person got kicked out of Pig Destroyer, I found out who the replacement was. I was just so stoked. Travis is just one of the coolest fucking people I know. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. Nobody deserves that spot more than him. And then he's off doing other stuff with the Cavaliers, which is just beyond awesome. The nail bomb shit, just everything he's doing is just so fucking cool. I'm very happy for that guy. But Noisem is where I met him. Noisem's always got a special place in my heart. I saw them when they were first called Necropsy. Uh, they played the Book Burner CD release show. I think they were called Necropsy then. Blake did everything in his power to make sure that this band got heard and noticed back in the day, and they absolutely were because of Blake. So shout out to Blake. Rest in peace to our homie Blake Harrison.
Yes.
Jeff, what you got next?
All right. Up next is my least chaotic of the last two artists I'm going to talk about. So I'm going to try to not take as long as what I did with Fister and probably be a little bit more organized this time. This next band is a band from Singapore. Another band I'm going to see at Maryland Death Fest this year. They were actually the whatever they were announced. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to Death Fest this year. I have to go. Wormrot. This collection, this box was released by Earache Records in 2022, I believe. There are 4 empty spots here where cassettes would go. We'll get to the cassette here in a second. This release, there were 100 of these made, and I am lucky enough to have one of these. We'll start off at the beginning. Dirge. I'm sorry, Abuse. Abuse. Dirge. Voices. Hiss. And their latest release, which was a compilation of various EPs and splits and stuff like that, Left to Rot. This was not released in the box. This was just released a couple months back. And this is actually one of the only things that I do not have cataloged in Discogs yet because there's no fucking listing for it. So if anybody out there watching this show makes it or has a hankering to put a release on Discogs, add this to Discogs so I can put it in my collection. Please. It's driving me nuts. I keep checking like once a week to put that cassette in there so I don't forget about it, and it's still not up yet. But Wormrot from Singapore, all 5 releases from these guys. Stoked to see them at Maryland Death Fest here in a couple months, and they're doing a pretty big tour. Pretty massive tour in the U.S. this year with No Moss and Bandit, and yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully I get to see these guys again, other than Maryland Death Fest, but we'll see. Wormrot. I'm glad the OG lineup's back together. God, so excited for Wormrot this year, dude.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. Next band I'm going to talk about. Actually, we're going to go back down under one more time to another band that I am famously known for talking about because this band just kicked my ass and I had no idea who the fuck they were the first time I saw them, and then just went balls deep and bought so much of their merch, their vinyl, all this shit. Jeff knows how much I love the band Extortion. This is You Got Ripped Off Again. Look at that fucking artwork. Rohan Harrison, the singer of this band, he does all their artwork. I actually have this on a T-shirt. It's pretty fucking rad. This is there are 2 versions of this cassette. This came out in 2012. There was 100 that were on pink label and 50 on a blue label. I have the blue label. I have number 36 of 50. As you can see, boom, the label is blue. Look. Oh, cool, awesome. I hope you heard all that. Yeah, there's Rohan when he had black hair. Uh, I guess this was made in the USA for some reason, and then shipped out to Australia, and then I bought it, and it got shipped back to the USA. Um, yeah, I've never listened to this. I love the band Extortion a lot. I try to collect a lot of their stuff. I don't have everything of theirs. There's a couple demos and shit that I have that are shit that's out there that is just so expensive that I can't find, or people just don't want to let go of. They've repressed a lot of things with different color covers or whatnot, but this I just wanted to own because I thought I had this on. I have a T-shirt of this, and then I figured, fuck it, let me just own the cassette as well. Yeah, Extortion, awesome fucking band. I have a tattoo of theirs that the singer drew, and he was very nice about it. Sometimes artists don't like when people do that. When I talked to him about it, he was really cool, and then I met him in person, and he was like, "Man, I remember that." Told me he still had it on his desktop on his computer at home, and I thought that was amazing. But really nice guy, really awesome band. I wish they could come to our country more often than they do, but I understand it's just to ship a record from Australia. I can imagine what it is to pay to come over here and perform.
Yeah, I'm sure it's very pricey, very costly.
Yeah.
With him. Uh, Real quick, speaking of bands, being cool whenever you talk to them, or bands not being, fans of asking for art or whatever. Bands don't like it whenever I talk to them at all. And it's not very nice. I try to be personable and try to get people to like me, but they don't care. Up next, my last artist that I am going to talk about. Whenever we decided this, Nick and I decided this afternoon that we were going to do cassettes, and I started pulling everything out. My wife came through and she said, "That's enough. That's enough cassettes to do like a 2-hour episode. What fucking, how long is this episode going to be?" And I'm really, really going to try to keep this relatively short. The last band that I'm going to talk about is a band that we are not fans of here at Vinyl Bang, Cattle Decapitation. Cattle Decapitation. I'm going to start off at the beginning with the 3 copies of Human Jerky that are on cassette. Red Shell, Yellow Shell, and the latest released is a glittery, sparkly something shell. I don't even know what this is supposed to be. But none of these are open because I don't need to open them, and I don't, I have 75 copies on vinyl. Don't need to listen to cassette, but I have them. Up next from Cattle Decapitation, their second album, Homivore. All 3 copies that were released on cassette. The black shell, the yellow shell, and the one that has a yellow backing on it that I can't remember what the fucking color of the shell is. I don't care. I have all of them. I don't care. This release, again, as I've stated every time I've talked about the Homivore re-release, was because of my CD. You're welcome. For everybody that has a copy of the remastered Homivore, came from me. Okay, I'm the reason why you have that. Up next, from Cattle Decapitation, Decapitation, their 3-song EP that all of the vocals are done in Spanish. Red shell, white shell, green shell to represent the flag. Okay, this was bought from show whenever they played in Kansas. I can't remember if it was Kansas City or if it was Lawrence, Kansas, or what show they played. I want to say it was the Riot Room, whatever year this was released. I want to say it was at the Riot Room, and they had a specific sign that said only 1 copy per customer. And I laughed. Oh, how I laughed heartily at the sign. Our good friend Ross was selling merch, and I walked out with all 3 fucking copies because I'm Jeff Grindstoffer. Okay, don't fucking sell me 1 copy. You sell me all of them. So next for Cattle Decapitation is their Anthropocene Extinction release. They did not do any of the other albums between Homivore and Anthropocene Extinction for unknown reasons. Actually, I know the reasons, but I'm not at liberty to say. Clear Shell on the Anthropocene extinction. One of the coolest cassettes, one of the absolute most rare cassette that I own. There are 2 of these in existence, 2 that exist. This is a test cassette for the Anthropocene extinction. I bought this on eBay. This was not given to me by a connection. I did not pull strings or get special privileges or anything to acquire this. I bought it fair and square, just like anybody could have done on the internet. The Anthropocene extinction test cassette released on June 9th, or this was sorry, I keep wanting to say pressed. This was made on June 9th of 2015. 2 of these exist, and I own one. Up next from Cattle Decapitation is their Medium Rarities cassette, which is a compilation of B-sides and unreleased stuff up until that point, and I don't even care what year it was. And last but not least, their previous album, not the newest album, Terrorcide, but the album before that, Death Atlas. One is sealed, one is not. They were both the same. They were both the same release. Why I have 2 copies? I'm sure it was because my wife encouraged me to buy 2 copies because I have to have everything Cattle Decapitation, and she just giggles whenever I talk about all my Cattle Decapitation stuff. So there, done. Cattle Decapitation, everything they've ever put on cassette.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Good stuff there.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I'm going to make this short and sweet, unlike Jeff, because I don't have 1,000 cassettes to talk about. First thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about a band that Jeff and I are pretty familiar with. We're good friends with, I should say. A band from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania called Bandit. This is a album. I don't remember what year Warsaw came out. This was these cassettes came out in 2018. There's a black shell and a red shell. These are sealed. I don't want to open any of them, but I guess you can see the center of the shells there pretty well. And then these other 2 cassettes that I got called Grind Killers. These are a bunch of 7-inch splits that they put out with like Ground, Demonstration, Pavel Chekhov, Self-Inflicted, and some of these aren't. One of these aren't opened. And yeah, that's about it. The reason why I have okay, let's see here. There's 25 on Gold Brick and 25 on Cash Money. You can see which is which. But what was really special to me about this is the cover of this. Jeff should know about this. When I first met these guys, a buddy of mine, shout out to Mark Valentino, he asked me if I could film this band called Bandit. He's friends with these guys, and they were playing Death Fest a couple years ago, and I said, sure, why not? I remember standing there just waiting for these guys to like start setting up so I could know who to go talk to, and I saw these dudes in these jumpsuits, and I'm like, oh my god. So I walked up, I'm like, hey, which one of these Jack? And this dude here in the center is Mr. Jack. He came walking up to me. I told him, hey, Mark told me you guys wanted me to film you. And he's like, oh, could you take a quick photo of us real fast? And boom, I snapped this photo of these guys. Within a couple days, this photo was like the biggest meme after Death Fest, and it was great. They were easily the best band of that weekend at Death Fest. I think it was 2018 when I saw these guys. They were fucking amazing. Jack, he's been like the greatest pal in the world. Gene, their singer, is one of the funniest human beings. I know this gentleman here in the bottom has passed away recently. Rest in peace to him. But this means a lot to me because I took this photo. It's awesome that they've used it so many times on T-shirts, and they put it on a cassette. I mean, what the fuck? That's awesome. Like I never thought in a million years that one of my pictures would be out there like that. But there it is. These guys are these are great dudes. They're an awesome grind band. They're from Philadelphia. I think a couple years ago, Jeff and I were at what was it? The Decibel Beer and Metal Fest, and me and Jack went and got some lunch, and he's one of the nicest human beings in the world. Their singer, Gene, is a comedian, and when I say that, I mean that. He goes up and does stand-up comedy, but he's a funny ass fucking dude.
Yeah,
his tweets, his Facebook posts are a riot. I love that guy to death. He's a great person. He's a funny guy. This band just fucking rules. They're great people. Like Jeff just said, they're about to go on tour with Wormrot and No Mas, who are local friends of mine as well. Shout out to Bandit. They are a great band. Good couple of dudes that Jeff and I know, and
Yeah.
fucking that is it for the cassettes. I have a couple more cassettes, but we're not. Those are the ones that I wanted to share on our show because those all meant something to me in a way, some way or another.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on, shout out to Jack and Gene. Fucking love you guys. Fucking love Bandit. Love you guys. Yeah. That is that's it for cassettes. And dude, I had a hard time picking which ones I was going to talk about. I got like 5 more bands. It was just like, dude, I can't talk about all these. I even switched one in the episode. So like,
Yeah, I just saw you send me a message. I was like, you never even sent me a list, so I don't know what you're switching here, bud.
oh, I
I
thought I
saw
did
that.
the list. Whatever.
You
We'll
just
hash this out after the camera's off.
send me a picture of that picture of Bill Hader. I keep tweeting you.
Feel like a
I
big
keep.
old buttery stack of flat tacks.
Somebody, if you understand what we're talking about, put it in the comments, folks. Jeff, did you get anything new?
I have one. I have one new album, but an album. In a couple of months, these 2 bands are going to go on the second run of the Savage Imperial Death March tour. Melvins and Napalm Death. Melvins and Napalm Death, ladies and gentlemen. And this is not a split. Okay, this is not one side Melvins, the other side Napalm Death. This is both bands together performing. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs. The first song, Tossing Coins into the Fountain of Fuck. Some Kind of Antichrist, 9 Days of Rain, which, God, that song fucking rules. Rip the God, Stealing Horses, and Death Hour. I will tell you, hearing Barney sing over Melvin's is, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. There's some of this stuff on this it's a little like, it's a little much. But yeah, hearing Buzz and Barney on the same song is just so badass. This is number 62 out of 300. This was released by Amphetamine Reptile Records, and I am stoked to own this. This sold out in like 2 minutes, as every Melvin's album does on Amphetamine Reptile Records every Sunday whenever they release a new album. Gone in minutes. But yeah, that's my only new album. So that's it.
Cool. You can get out of here. Stop. Go
All
find
right.
something else to fuck around.
I'm sorry. I'll go.
No. Back, he's being all nosy in the record shelf where he shouldn't be.
Oh.
I just threw a treat over there, buddy. Go get it. Yeah, right over there. Right over there. He's looking back as he heard the magic word.
The third co-host of Vinyl Bang, ladies and gentlemen, Backy the Backy.
I got a couple records here. I bought a couple recently. I got this one yesterday. So when I was at what store I bought this at? Death, Sound of Perseverance. This is like with the cool shiny release cover that Relapse put out. Like when you look on the inside, see that?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool. I don't think that any of the other re-releases. This is the custom tricolor merge splatter edition.
Nice. That's a good one.
There's only one more full-length Death album I do not own on vinyl, and that is Scream Bloody Gore. But I'll buy that at some point. I wanted to get this one at some point. I lagged. I waited a while to buy this one. I don't know why. Then I saw that Relapse did these represses a couple years ago, which are really cool looking. And I don't want to own any more other albums that I already have. But I bought that one yesterday. I saw it. It was like $40. Ain't bad. It's only $40, but next thing I bought is from the last store I went to a store called Mobius in Fairfax, Virginia, I believe. And I bought the very first System of a Down album. Something I should have bought a long time ago. I've seen it a few times, but I've also seen it for very pricey. This was only $24 yesterday. seen it for like 44 at this one place. I was like, what the fuck? I like this album a lot. This was really cool. I remember seeing them when I first walked into Ozfest at '98. They were on stage and they were just incredible. They were one of the three bands that I walked away that day that I didn't hear, that I never knew about, that I became a fan of. But yeah, System of a Down, their first album, self-titled, some cool songs on there. War, Sweepy, um, Soil, Mind, People, Darts. I can keep going. Next thing I bought this from a store in Leesburg, Virginia. I do not remember what it was called. I do know that two of the gentlemen from Page 99 worked at this store. Voivod, Dimension Hatros. This is a clear with like purple splatter. It's like a 40th anniversary edition of this album. I don't know. This is a cool album. There's some really nice songs on this record. I found an OG pressing of this years ago, last year maybe, and I sent it off to our good pal Dave Whitty. I have to start rebuilding my Voivod collection because the only other album I had of theirs was shit, Killing Technology, and I gave that to Dave because Dave gave me a ton of free records out of his collection one day, and like he told me if I had any Voivod, let me know, and I absolutely, I was like, no brainer, dude. Like he needs this more than I do, so gave that to our good pal Dave Whitty. Shout out Dave Whitty. Next thing I got, one of two Dying Fetus full lengths that I don't own on album on vinyl, which would be War of Attrition. This was the album that came out with Dwayne Timmerland was the drums on this record, and then when he departed, our good friend Trey Williams joined, and he finished up the touring cycle of this. They still had two guitarists at this point, and then Mike, I believe his name was, left the band. But yeah, this is a standard black vinyl. Found that, and then I found the other Dying Fetus album I don't own on vinyl, which is the first one that our friend Trey appeared on, Descend into Depravity. I'm an idiot. I didn't take it out. This is like Jeff had that Pool of Blood edition.
Very
Yeah,
cool. Yep.
yeah. They even had Stop at Nothing, which is the one that I bought when we were in St. Louis. No, in Chicago.
Chicago.
And but I should have waited because it was much cheaper at this place. But still cool to own all their albums now, all their full lengths, I should say, on vinyl. Like this was the first one that Trey was on. I held off for so long just because I didn't care about the guitar tone on this record. The next album came through and it was just so fucking chunky and heavy and had that old school Vita sound. But like, uh, Trey's my boy. I did want to own everything that he's been on. Shout out to Dying Fetus. Good band, good friends. Last thing I got a couple weeks ago, I bought this and it was sealed, and I was kind of bummed because it turned out a little warped. But this is I always tell people my favorite Meshuggah album is Destroy, Erase, Improve, but my favorite thing that they ever done was the Nun EP. This is a couple years ago. They did a repress of it. This was a special one-time only release on vinyl. They did the re-imaged art, re-imaged design layout, and the mastered for vinyl audio. This was a limited to 700 on white. Um, if most people who owned CDs back in the day, the Contractions Collapse full length came with the Nun EP at the end. Um, Open it up. These are some young ass pictures of Meshuggah back from like 1991 there. This is a really cool fucking EP. I love this album so much. It is on white. I think I showed you the other. I sent Jeff a video of this spinning on the turntable. There's all types of warps. It upsets me, but what can you do? Yeah, Meshuggah is a very unique, one of a kind band. This is a very awesome fucking thing to own. I'm very happy to finally have this in my collection. I'm trying to track down some of their earlier stuff that I do not own on vinyl because they a couple years ago some label repressed a lot of their earlier stuff, and like you can go to record stores and find Chaosphere and Nothing and a couple of other ones, but I like to find Catch 33 for a reasonable price. Everything I find is like in the upper hundreds, and that's shitty. I like that album a lot. That was a cool concept record. And
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, that's it. That's all I got. My new stuff that came in this week that I bought. Went record store shopping with our pals from Pig Destroyer yesterday, and shout out to Alex Shaw. It was his birthday yesterday, and big fan of the show, friend of the show.
Yeah, he's okay.
I made sure all the people that we know, minus Adam Jarvis, got a T-shirt from us, and yeah. Hmm.
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 Cool.
Now, shout out to those guys. Pig Destroyer, awesome band, good friends of the show. Scott Hall, be on our goddamn show already.
For real, Scott, quit playing.
I said something to JR yesterday about twisting this dude's arm, and he made one of his little JR jokes at me. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm yeah, that's our show.
That's it.
I can't segue
All
out of this
cassettes.
thing.
All cassettes and a couple records. So
Yeah, that's it for Cassette Bang. Thank you everybody for watching. This was a fun one because I was like I said, I have a couple cassettes that mean something, and I don't know if I was ever going to be able to share them. And who the fuck's going to tell you and me no, we can't do a show about cassettes on or a show that's about vinyl.
yeah, we're gonna do. We're gonna do. But I got. Did you all see all these cattle decapitation cassettes? Oh, God.
All right, folks. No. All right. You all have a good night. Thank you once again, Jeff, for your time.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Peace out, everybody.
See you guys.
Final bang, bang, down.